We begin this morning with historical tensions between South Korea and Japan. Seoul has once again urged Tokyo to uphold its pledge to reflect the history of wartime forced labor at the Sado Mines, after it found that Japan's latest conservation report failed to explain the coercive nature of the mobilization of workers. Our Seung-jae starts us off.
South Korea has urged Japan to follow through on its pledge to fully reflect the history of wartime forced labor at a UNESCO World Heritage site after concluding that Japan's latest conservation report failed to explain the coercive nature of the mobilization of workers there. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs made the call on Monday after the World Heritage Committee released Japan's implementation report on how it's presenting the history of the Sado gold and silver mining complex. The site was inscribed on the UNESCO World Heritage list in July last year. South Korea, which is one of the 21 members of the World Heritage Committee, agreed to the listing on the condition that Japan would fully implement the committee's decisions. Those decisions included improving how the site's history was presented and interpreted, particularly its links to wartime forced labor. According to Foreign Ministry spokesperson Park Il, the report shows that Japan has failed to faithfully carry out the committee's recommendations, as well as the pledges it made during the inscription process. Park emphasized that the entire history of these Sado mines must be reflected at the site, not selectively presented. Park also recalled Japan's past commitments. In 2015, when another Japanese industrial site linked to forced labor was granted World Heritage status, a Japanese government representative acknowledged that many Koreans were brought against their will and forced to work under harsh conditions. Japan pledged at the time that it would ensure that this history would be properly conveyed. Seoul has viewed that statement as a reaffirmation of Japan's commitment to present the mines as a former forced labor site. The Sado Mines, once known as a major gold producer from the 17th to the 19th centuries, were later used to manufacture war supplies for the Japanese Imperial Army during World War II. More than 1,500 Koreans are reported to have been forced into labor at the mines between 1940 and 1945, when Korea was under Japanese colonial rule. Among Tokyo's pledges was the holding of regular memorial ceremonies to honor the victims of forced labor. This year, South Korea declined to attend the Japan-hosted ceremonies for the second consecutive year, citing disagreements over how the events should be organized. Instead, Seoul has held its own memorial services with bereaved family members near the Sado Mines site in Niigata Prefecture off Japan's west coast. Meanwhile, UNESCO's International Council on Monuments and Sites is expected to evaluate Japan's report over the coming months before submitting its conclusions to the World Heritage Committee. Seung-jae, ArirangNews.